Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Logical Nonsense Podcast. I am fired up, boys. We got Dodge Matthews. We have Caden Walsh on. We got college football talk. We've got Bengals going into Jacksonville, taking down the Jaguars. We've got all sorts of talk. We got in-season tournament. Had the first day of that. Yeah, we kind of missed it, but it's okay. We're still going to predict the rest of the games. We are here. We are ready. How's everyone feeling today?
Feeling good, Hunter. Thanks for having us.
Really good.
Yeah. So let's hop right into the fire, boys. It's college football playoff talk time. Big storylines here. Everyone, Florida State got put out. Alabama in. Let's start out with this. We'll start out with the calm one. Did they get the first three right?
Yes, they got the first three right. I think it's questionable whether even Texas should have jumped Florida State, in my opinion, because, and we'll get into the Florida State controversy later, but Texas has had some trouble with teams, but pretty much every team other than Michigan has had trouble with teams. Michigan did just have trouble with Maryland. But pretty much it's only been Michigan and Georgia until the last few weeks where both of those teams have had, obviously Georgia just lost and Michigan had trouble with Maryland, but still won. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest one that no one's really talking about is Texas. I feel like everyone's really just wrote them in regardless, and it's like, oh, what's the reason? They're like, oh, they beat Bama. It's like, okay,
it's a good win.
I mean, it is a good win, but it's interesting. Like that's one of their only reasonings. I mean, obviously the Big 12 championship helps. Obviously, getting 12 wins helps, but
I mean, and they dominated the Big 12 championship. I think if they had just slightly won, I don't know,
would have been more of a not controversy, but more talked about.
No, I agree, and I think there could have been a conversation. I heard this where Georgia and Bama both got in over Texas if Texas doesn't have the win over Bama with the SEC bias. So I saw that mock and I was like, that's kind of tough, because Georgia they could be a top 4 team. That's still debatable, but I think Texas definitely belongs. They're playing good football. I wish they would have played Oklahoma in the Pac-12 championship, but
Big 12.
They got kind of a way easier game. Big 12.
Yeah, would have been able to redeem that loss earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously the givens, Michigan and UW. Sadly, UW's in it, but it's fine. It's fine.
They earned it.
They earned it, but I'm not happy about it. I don't need to be happy about it. So, just remember who they almost lost to. So, so I think the top two were given. Michigan, obviously 13-0. They looked really good in the Big 10 championship. Very given. I mean, but on that winning streak, did Florida State get robbed? Going back here, let me paint the picture. So back in the day, before college football playoff, for some people who don't remember, there was something called the BCS. The BCS, in this day and age, I guarantee you, Bama would not, if there was a 4-team playoff.
So I actually do follow this guy on Twitter who still does the BCS rankings if they were in place today.
Yeah.
And actually, what's funny is that they do put Bama in the top 4, but they kick out Texas.
Oh,
and Texas is at 5 in the BCS national championship rankings.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I think there needs to be a debate about the BCS uses computers and therefore is trying to be more objective while the committee is just humans, it is very subjective.
Absolutely.
And I mean, yeah, Florida State got absolutely robbed. I don't think we should ever let it go because honestly, I've never been a fan of the 14 playoff. I'm still not a fan of the 12-team playoff either. I think 6 was always the better one, or the 8. So it's more like the NFL, where either top 2 get a bye or you have 8, and then it's just 4 and 4 on each side. But no, I mean, like we were talking about before, right before we started, Kirk Herbstreit said it before Jordan Travis's injury that if Florida State won out and Bama won the SEC championship game, who gets in? It's a question, right? So I think they're using the Jordan Travis injury as a excuse to make sure an SEC team is in there.
Gets in, yeah. No, I think it's an interesting question because, like you said, it is an excuse. They're saying, they're not the same team. They're down to the third string quarterback. And the thing I keep hearing, something I want to pose to you guys, they keep saying the best 4 teams. But yet
they're ranked ahead of
Georgia, every year
right?
It changes. The criteria changes. So, I don't know. What do you think, Cade?
I think any other year, right? A 13-0 Florida State team winning out gets in. But of course, this is the only year where there might be that exception because like Cincinnati got in Power 5. If Florida State was undefeated that year, they get in. And it always seems like the 4th team is always a 2-loss team or a 1-loss team that barely gets in. This is the first year where they kind of want that expanded playoffs because it's just heartbreaking for them. I do think they got snubbed a little bit. And I also want to pose a question to you guys. I saw a thing where it said if Dion was coaching this Florida State team, would they get in? Would they get in? Because right now it also seems like a silver lining of money. They know Florida State would probably lose, and they don't want to put them in with the loss of money because Bama gets them a lot more revenue.
Or even better yet, not even Dion. Let's just say we'll switch coaches. Same situations, switch coaches. Who gets in?
Well, here's this, right? Yeah, I've Nick Saban. Yeah, no doubt. Think about the same conference. If Clemson was a 13-0 national champ with the exact same thing, and they were on their third string, Clemson is in. Why? Because they've had recent success of getting into the college football playoff,
proven
and
success.
People are used to it. The reason is because Florida State hasn't been good since Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
and people, that's the committee is not used to Florida State being that good, and so they got left off. I mean, and actually, there's another scenario, like not a fake scenario, but a real life scenario that happened where Ohio State won the national championship game with their third string quarterback. In the playoff era. Cardale Jones. Anybody remember Shotgun 12? Yep. It was a great story. I loved that. I thought Cardale Jones was going to be great in the NFL because of it. Because he started 4 games and suddenly was like a stud. Now Florida State quarterbacks, I mean, they would have had their backup instead of their third string for it. He never gets that opportunity. And I think that's kind of BS.
Yeah, and I think the subjectivity, it becomes a problem when you start basing it on past years. It's about this season. It's not about last season. It's not about the last 10 years. It's about this season. And if you want to talk about the best 4 teams, look at the teams with the best records and what they've proven this year. Yes, was Florida State down to their third string quarterback? Yes. Did they still find a way to be a ranked team? Let's not forget that, a ranked team in the ACC championship. They got it done.
A top 15 team, too. They're not barely ranked.
Their defense was elite through that game. They carried them through that game. Let's not forget that. Okay, everyone's discrediting all this teams, whatever. Sure, maybe Alabama right now is better than them, but they lost. Everyone knows the rules of the game. They lost one time this year, and Florida State didn't.
Yep.
So,
and here's the other thing too. If we're talking about best teams, where's Ohio State?
yep.
Ohio State deserves to be in the conversation with Georgia and Bama. Their only loss is to Michigan by 6.
Yep.
Or was it by 3? It was one score
Well,
at Michigan.
and what they're going to say about that is, well, they weren't even in a conference championship game. And it's like,
doesn't matter, right?
That's not how the Big Ten is. That's not how it works. That's not how their criteria works. So I don't know if anyone has anything else to add, but
the Big Ten is changing their next season. They are changing it to just the top 2, so you could get a Michigan, Ohio State.
Well, good.
I think because of this scenario of like Ohio State and Michigan always get robbed out of it, or Penn State even.
Yeah. All right. Does the SEC get too much credit? This might be an obvious question.
I think it is safe to say they get a little bit too much credit, but I mean, it is also hard to deny because they do have a lot of championships. I mean, Georgia back last 2 years, Bama multiple years. So like, it's easy to say that it's pretty biased when like an Alabama sneaks in at the end or, something like that happens. But I think they deserve a lot of credit too. They are probably they are the best football conference. But I also think, like we said before, there's a lot of money on the line, right? So, and there's a lot of money in the South. So that's what gets them a lot of extra credit, maybe a little bit more deserving, but they do produce national champions year after year. So,
yep.
Don't get me wrong. The SEC over the past decade has been the best conference in the nation, but they're not the best this season. And everyone likes to look at actually the conference to conference matchups, which I think actually is warranted. I think that's fair. But honestly, the SEC and Big Ten had bad out of conference matchups against other conferences. So both of them have losing records. But the Big Ten, I think, is actually better this year than the SEC. I think Michigan is the number 1 ranked team, right? I think it's hard to debate whether Georgia or Alabama would beat Michigan. I think Ohio State's within that same realm. And if we go further down the list as well, like for some reason the committee has Missouri over Penn State. Penn State's only 2 losses are to Michigan and Ohio State. And they lost to Ohio State by 1 score, and they lost to Michigan by 9.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri's has lost to LSU, who's actually ranked below them, and they lost to Georgia by, I think, 2 scores, who's ranked lower than Michigan.
Yeah.
So I think and Penn State played good teams. They played an 8-4 West Virginia team in a non-conference game and won 38-15. Very solid win. They beat Iowa 31-0, just as well as Michigan just dominated Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do think actually if we're looking at the top 3 teams, I think the Big Ten's actually better this year than the SEC. I think the SEC is very deep though.
Yeah.
Like you look at A&M, you look at Auburn, you look at
LSU.
Well, LSU, yeah. I mean, Ole Miss. I mean, there's plenty of teams, but I'm talking about the teams that finished in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
That are actually pretty good teams, and probably don't deserve to finish 7-5, but did. So, SEC's deep. Just the top of the top is not like above everyone else, like it has been. So.
Well, I like the answers. I'm not going to comment on this just because I haven't followed it as closely as I would have liked. But I will say it does feel like we are measuring a little bit too much on the past and not this season. All right. Final question about college until we hop into the NFL. Does the 12-team playoff save this debate? Or do we just keep having these arguments at number 12 and 11 and 10?
I think we keep having these arguments.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry,
I think you have the arguments, but I don't think they're as big of an attention grabber as like the 4 or 5, 5th best team. It's like the 12th, the 11th, 14th, 13th. Like it's not that big of a snub because those teams probably aren't going to win the championship anyway. But there could be a chance where the 5th best team could get into the 4-team playoff and they could have won it that year, but they got left out. I also think 12 teams is a little bit too much, in my opinion. I think 6 to 8 is the better number. 6, so the top 2 seeds get a bye. 8's still fine with me because the 1 seed probably smokes the 8, but I don't. You're going to still have arguments, no matter how big you made a playoff.
Yeah, very true. I also think with the 4, debates are higher because the stakes are higher. Only 4 teams get in. That's it. 12, it's like, yeah, thank God I'm in. But it's like, now I got to go play freaking the 1 seed Michigan, or now I got to go play like whoever, insert the best team that year, So it's like, at least with the top 4, it's usually like any one of those teams. Usually, not all the time, usually any one of those 4 teams can win a championship.
Yeah, I think the 12-team playoff, like you said, I'm not going to restate it, slightly saves it. I do think you still have problems because Oklahoma would have been left out this year. And Liberty would have gotten in because for some reason in the 12-team playoff, we're going to give a group of 5 an automatic bid. I hate to say it, but if a group of 5 is not deserving, they shouldn't be in. Yeah. There's the top 12 will make it. So, and there have been plenty of group of 5 teams that have been ranked in the top 12. Get ranked in the top 12. If Liberty would have dominated every single game this season, they would be ranked in the top 12, but they're not.
Yeah.
So I will say that I think 12 teams is way too much because LSU is not going to win a championship this season. Penn State is not going to win a championship this season. Ole Miss is not going to. Missouri's not going to. But all those teams would make playoff. And I remember when they first expanded this too, they were talking about player injuries. It was becoming a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, well, we're just adding more games to these players.
Yeah, you're not helping that case.
It's becoming an NFL schedule of 17 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So, yeah, I think 6 or 8 would have been the perfect number because I think 8 this season you would have had a Michigan versus Oregon matchup. I think is the 1 versus 8, and that's a good matchup. Do I think Oregon's is capable of winning a championship this season? No. But I think the top 6 would be perfect.
Yeah.
I also think that if it were the top 6, they would have kicked Florida State out of the top 6. I think
I will say this.
We'll
say this though. From a money standpoint, this is huge for college football.
Oh.
People will eat this shit up. Are you kidding me? You want to talk about grab your popcorn? Holy shit, brother. People will eat this shit up. This is what are they going to call it now? Like freaking Nut November? Because, I mean, when are they going to start these games? Because they're going to be great. Everyone's going to be watching these. Like, yeah. People will tune into this. Everyone's saying, oh, I don't want to watch college football with all the committee shit and all that. People will watch this. So
as much as I
think it's a smart move from a business standpoint. But what's up?
As much as I dislike the 12-team playoff, it is set up for money galore because I know I'll watch it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's going to be entertaining because there's going to be some upsets.
And there's good teams.
It's bound to happen. In 12 teams, there's going to be 1 or 2 upsets. Someone's going to make a run.
There was one last thing I wanted to bring up on the last question as well.
Yeah.
with all the conference realignment, only
Ooh.
one team in the top 12 won't be from the Big Ten or SEC next year, and that was Florida State. Everyone else in the top 12 will be in the Big Ten or in the SEC. Just kind of crazy to
Monopolies,
think
they're
about.
coming back, folks. All right, let's get into rate the games, boys. You know how this one works. Grab your popcorn. It's a great game. Let's sit back, enjoy this one. I was on the edge of my seat. We got MIDterranean Sea. Grab your boat and sail the mid. And we've got Shitshow. And a whole new category. I don't even want to talk about it. If somebody says I don't even want to talk about it, nobody talks about it. Rate the game. Seahawks, Cowboys. We got Seahawks and Cowboys fans on. I'll start because I'm unbiased. Grab your popcorn. Best Thursday night game of the year. Was there a shit ton of yellow on the field? Yes, there was, but god damn it, it was a good game. Dak is looking good, man. I hate to say it, but he is looking good. And on the other side of the ball, Seahawks put up a damn good fight. DK looked godly. Like an absolute god. For a while there, I thought he was going to become Darren Bland's father, but he showed up. He did show up. At the end of the game, he showed up. He got his pick or whatever he did. So it was a great game. I actually really enjoyed this Thursday night football game for once. So good job.
Yeah, I'll also say it was a grab your popcorn, except for in the first half, I was yelling at the refs when they called the flag for the Cowboys. Like, illegal contact, 5 yards, illegal contact, 5 yards. I was getting upset. I was like, just let them play. Like, you're ruining a good game. You know, so that was bad. But, you know, Dak, MVP conversation, top 3 right now, potentially. That's out there. He's on a heater right now. However, with that, I also will say the Cowboys are about to run the gauntlet the next 4 weeks. So we'll see if he can keep up what he's been doing. But so, because they got Bills, Eagles, Dolphins, Lions next 4. So if he can come out of that, I'd say 3-1. There's a good shot at him winning that. But the Cowboys defense, both defenses decided not to get off the plane or off the bus for this one because it was just a shootout, man. It was not fun until the fourth quarter. The Cowboys defense finally stepped up a little bit, but it was a fun game. Best Thursday night game of the year for sure.
Yep. All right,
the game was certainly grab your popcorn.
Disappointed. Grab your popcorn. He had some tears in that popcorn.
I mean, the Seahawks offense played so well that it feels like so disappointing because you can't give that up. Like,
yeah,
if the Seahawks offense is playing that well, you need to win that game.
Yep, absolutely.
You have to win that game because you don't have
it's
that
almost a waste if you don't.
Yeah, like I should have had it against the Niners now. Maybe we would win. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, gosh. Rough. Very rough because it was a track meet. I kind of thought it would be a track meet, I guess. I thought the Cowboys would do slightly better.
Yeah.
But not happy losing the game.
Yeah.
Also, there is one thing I want to talk about with the Cowboys. Congratulations to the Cowboys, though. We need to talk about Mike. Yeah, they beat a winning team, and with Mike McCarthy
now, so
with Mike McCarthy doing the play calling, I think that's something we need to talk about. That's something that's really helped Dak. And he did well with Rodgers when he called plays, and he's doing well with Dak. So I think maybe Mike McCarthy deserves a little credit here too.
Giving Mike, big Mike and flowers. You like it. We like it. Let's go to Colts, Titans. Rate the game.
God. I'm going to go MIDterranean on this one. I didn't really watch it too much, to be honest, but it kind of looked like it was back and forth. And then when the Titans scored at the end and they had a chance to go up by 1, and Tannehill botches the hold and they shank the PAT, and then they lose in overtime. So Tannehill losing games as a starter and a backup. But this Colts team, for me, they keep finding ways to win games, and I don't really think they're that good, and then they just keep winning. So I don't know if that train will end, but Minshew has been carrying them a little bit to some wins.
Yeah, Minshew finally had a good game too. 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Right, he didn't fumble the ball, right?
I don't believe so. I watched the game. I don't think he did.
He did. He did fumble the ball. All right. Well, so 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble, and yeah, I do think that the Colts have found ways to win. I'm going to rate this one. Grab your popcorn because it went into overtime. There's a good amount of scoring, and it didn't look like there's terrible football being played. So,
touche, brother. I've got a grab your popcorn game. This was one of the sloppiest games I've watched all season. We had a blocked punt recovered, and then there was just so much chaos throughout the game that it was so entertaining. I looked over and I'm like, oh, we've got another little review play here that they're showing on the screen, and they look like they're playing high school football. Nope, middle school. Okay. So, yeah, it was super entertaining, actually. I thought it was entertaining. Even the ending was fun. Like he said, Ryan Tannehill can't even win a game as a backup. So, I loved it. It was great. I love the South divisions because one of them's so bad that they're not entertaining, and the other is so bad that they are entertaining. So, go Colts. Going to the Chargers, Patriots. I don't want to talk about this one. Does anyone want to talk about this one?
I just want to say it's a shit show. That's it. And I don't want to talk about it. But for the only thing I want to say is the Patriots defense has to be fed up. 3 games in a row. Defense allows 10 points or less. 0 wins. Seth's rolling over right now. He's pissed.
Caleb Williams on the way.
Yeah, they're not winning a game the rest of the year. They're done.
All right. We don't want to talk about it. Moving on to the Lions Saints. I'll start off with this one. This one's tough. It's in between MIDterranean and Grab Your Popcorn, and here's why. The Lions were up 21-0 with 8 minutes left in the first quarter. How in the fuck did you let the Saints come back? The Saints. Derek Carr, head ass. How did you let this man come back on you, man? Like, are you shitting me? Derek Carr and the Saints proceed to score 28 points on a defense that's supposed to be elite? Brother, Dan Campbell, you might be needing to come out on the field and play yourself, brother. I'll go with mid just because I didn't like the Saints coming back.
I'm going to go with MIDterranean Sea as well, just because it looked like it was going to be an absolute blowout, shellacking. And it ended up not being, but it was so bad in the first quarter. And honestly, I don't think the Lions are that good. They might have the record.
First, folks. Bold takes on the Logical Nonsense podcast. Dodge Matthews does not think the Lions are good.
The Lions are 9-3, but they're pretenders, similar to the Dolphins in the AFC.
That's fair. I am kind of teetering on the shit show to MIDterranean Sea spectrum, just because both teams were good for a bit and then just complete ass, like the worst they could be. Lions 21-0 lead. You should not blow that to the Saints. Derek Carr gets injured and Winston comes in and throws a pass that's dropped for interception. Then Olave catches it to the 1-yard line to make it a 5-point game with a Kamara touchdown the next play. The Lions defense the last 2 weeks, fraudulent. They've been poor, which sucks because they were really good to start the year.
Yeah.
So now that's a big cause of concern for the Lions. They have a pretty easy schedule to end the year, but I mean, they got to sew it up here because they're going from favorites down to mid.
Yeah, no, and defense is concerning, especially as you're going into the postseason where it matters. So something to keep an eye on. Heard it here first, folks. Bolt takes on Logical Nonsense podcast. We might have called it Falcons Jets. Anybody want to talk about this
No, I
one?
don't want to talk about it. I thought Jets were going 2-0.
Even better game, Cardinals Steelers.
I'll talk about this one.
Okay.
It's a shit show.
Yeah, it was
Oh
a shit
my
show.
goodness. I mean, let's be honest, neither team played very good.
No.
And Kenny Pickett injured. I think I saw he's out for the year. I'm interested to see what Mitch Trubisky does. Hope Mitch Trubisky might ride this team into playoffs, maybe win a playoff game with the Steelers. And then guess what? They'll go back to Kenny Pickett next season because they hate him.
I think this is the weirdest 7-5 team in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Like the fact that this team can lose to teams like the Cardinals and then still be in the playoff conversation, and not just like lose, but like not look good at all. Like not even like a hint of potential. Like the defense and Mike Tomlin are their only saving grace. Their offense is atrocious. Like, and I know they got rid of Matt Canada and tried to fix it, but in this game, it did not look like they fixed shit. So I don't know what's happening over there in Pittsburgh, but you might need to go call on a super fan for quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah,
Kaden?
I was going to say maybe the two best things happened to the Steelers the last week and a half. Kenny Pickett going down and Matt Canada being fired. You give your offense at least a chance to maybe be a little bit different in their identity. Maybe Trubisky can change it up. But man, I don't know how they're 7-5 either. They found ways to win. Their defense carries them. I don't think it will continue. But I don't know. They've had a winning record forever since Mike Tomlin's been a coach. So they'll probably get to 9-8 somehow, some way. Maybe sneak in the 7th seed.
This will be interesting when we get to playoff talk.
Yep. All right, next game, Dolphins, Commanders. There is one thing I want to talk about. Will Tyreek Hill get 2,000 yards this season? He only needs to average 104 yards per game for the next 5 games. And that is a big ask. But if you look at his season so far, he's been about there.
What's his average per game
this
season?
Know that.
I think it's higher.
Provide 1481 by 12 games? Yeah.
Here, I'll do it. I got a calculator.
He's at 123.
I think he does it.
First ever. The closest before him was Calvin Johnson at 1967. I do have one question, though. Because we've moved to 17 games, does it count?
With an asterisk. Because there's no way Calvin Johnson would have been stuffed for 34 yards in that last game of the season, that season. So Matt Stafford would have willed him 34 yards.
Oh, absolutely.
He would have thrown it up 30 times at 50 yards just to get him it. So
just a forward pitch.
Yeah. I think Tyreek Hill deserves to be in the MVP conversation, though, and he's, according to the betting markets, I mean, I don't know where he is, but it's not top 3 or I don't think 5 either. So, but he needs to be up there.
Yeah.
Dominant receiver.
Cade, what do you think? I know he's on your fantasy, so you're happy over there. But
and every week he gets at least one 50-yard touchdown, it seems like, in the first quarter. So, he's guaranteed at least 50. But I think even if he's close, Mike McDaniel will force feed him the football, little screen passes, forward lateral, stuff like that, anything to get him those yards. I think he does it. I know they play the Jets, but he still had over 100 yards the first time they played him. He played the Cowboys defense, so he could put up a Metcalf type performance there.
For any time he gets
stop him.
For any time he gets 200 yards, he can get 10. Like the next game. So I think he's for sure getting it. I don't see a world where he doesn't.
All right, 2,000-yard season on the way. This next game I don't want to talk about, but I will be forced to talk about Broncos Texans. Someone else, please take the lead.
Kaden, you go.
I don't know how to rate it. Because for me, it was grab your popcorn just because I knew Hunter was quaking because he gave up on the team probably, and then they came back, and then they broke his heart right at the end. So for me, it was entertaining because I wanted the Broncos to win for his sake, but I also didn't want them to win because Houston's been my team since the preseason that I've been riding with. So I think it was grab your popcorn because it was just entertaining. It was kind of a shit show. CJ Stroud didn't play exceptionally well. Russell Wilson played okay. It was probably mid, but for me, it was grab your popcorn.
Yeah. Dodge.
I'm teetering between MIDterranean and Shitshow.
Ooh.
We're gonna go barely MIDterranean, just because it was close in the end, and I don't know how I feel about it. Russ didn't have a good game. CJ Stroud honestly didn't play terribly. So if CJ Stroud played bad, honestly I'd probably rate it
Can I say one thing about Russ's performance though?
Yeah, go ahead.
One of his picks was absolutely nuts by the corner. Like nuts. Just freaking bam. Like I'm still a little shook about how he picked that, but besides the point. Continue. He still had two picks.
He still threw two more. So I think it's very close just because the offenses didn't look great. I don't think the defenses on either side is stout. The Broncos have been really good about getting turnovers lately, and that's been what's their saving grace. Didn't happen this game. So they lost. I guess it's not that surprising. No, not forcing any turnovers and losing. And you have 3. Honestly, Broncos were lucky to be in the game.
Yeah, no, this was a MIDterranean Sea game. I mean, it was entertaining, but it was also not entertaining for me, obviously. This team looked god awful first half. I seriously was. I mean, you guys saw my comments in the group chat. I hate being a Broncos fan. This is torture. Why do they do this to me every year? That kind of thing. And then they start to creep back. They give me this hope. I've seen it before, man. Seen it before. They do it. I'm like, holy shit. And we wind down the clock. I thought we were going to be poor clock managers. We're not poor clock managers. I'm like, holy shit. We're going to do this thing right. We're going to score, and they're not going to have enough time to get the ball back and score. But no, what do? I can't remember if it was a 3rd and goal or 4th and goal. We throw it straight to the corner, straight to him. Our tight end didn't even have a chance. So, yeah, MIDterranean, RIP, Nico Collins. Not Nico Collins, Tank Dell.
Yeah.
Get better. He's been having a hell of a season, but
I think he's ruled out for the year too now.
He is. So, he had a great rookie season, so good for him. Panthers, Bucks. Anybody?
It's actually kind of a MIDterranean Sea game looking at the score, but it's NFC South. It's no one wants to watch it. It's not fun. Their only way they can get wins are versus each other, basically. So it's just I don't know. I'm glad the Bucks won. I think they're the better team, but I'm glad it was at least close for Carolina fans. But they don't even have their first overall pick, so it just sucks if you're a Carolina fan. Never mind.
Honestly, this was a shit show. I don't care if the game was close. This is just 2 bad teams playing. Both offenses looked inept. And it's just another there's the Texans versus the Broncos, right? And that's a close game that I rate MIDterranean Sea. And then there's this. And it's both levels of the teams were worse. And so it's just I can't. It's a shit show.
Yeah, I've got it. I mean, I didn't even watch the game. I'll be honest. I don't want to watch this. I don't know why you keep putting NFC South games on my channel. I know they have to play each other, but like when the division's that bad, they should just cancel the games.
The only good thing about watching the Bucks play is that Mike Evans is an absolute stud.
He has been playing well. He has like 12 touchdowns this year. Or
10
10, I think.
seasons.
10. He has
Well,
10.
10 seasons of 1,000 yards each season.
Yeah.
Think about that. And
Yep.
think about what the quarterbacks he's done it with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Baker's not even the worst.
Tom Brady was terrible. Browns, Rams. I'll start. Shit show. I mean, Matt Stafford's looking like the gunslinger he is. I went on a podcast a few weeks ago and said that you should never count the Rams off as long as Matt Stafford's on the team. And what do you know? They beat a AFC North team, the Browns, and they looked good at it. Joe Flacco actually had a decent start. He did not finish well. Through like 2 or 3 quarters, he actually was playing decent and then did not finish well. But
Yeah,
So what do you
I'll agree.
I already said it was a shit show.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I agree. Shit show. It was good to see the Rams offense has picked it up the last couple of weeks. They're on a 3-game win streak now. They're getting hot. They're in the playoff hunt with a mesh of 4 or 5 teams that are all 6-6. Mm-hmm. And then the Browns defense, finally, I think they got, in the words of Marshawn Lynch. They didn't play too spectacular this game, and their offense couldn't. Obviously, the Browns offense isn't going to win them a shootout. So, but it was just an okay game, kind of a shitty game.
Yeah, I'll say it's a shit show just because I thought the Rams were going to win throughout. Just because it was Joe Flacco's first start. Honestly, Joe Flacco didn't play bad. I think he's actually by far their best option. And I had thought that he was the second best free agent quarterback out there behind Matt Ryan.
Can I just say something real quick? You were giving me those eyes like I was stupid just a second ago. I didn't like that.
What?
Your eyes. You were telling me that my take was bad or some shit. I don't know. I didn't like that. But your eyes were looking at me. I thought you were disagreeing with my Joe Flacco take. I was like, does this man think Joe Flacco thought he was bad? All right, continue. Sorry.
No, Joe Flacco actually played pretty well. You know, his end of game stats don't show it because I mean he had barely over 50% completion percentage and barely over not even 6 yards per attempt. But I actually think he's by far their best option because the other 2 options are Dorian Thompson-Robinson's not ready and PJ Walker he's not an NFL quarterback. He just is not capable. So, And the Rams look good. The Rams, I don't know what to say as a Seahawks fan. The Rams are good. It's unfortunate.
All right. Next game. Niners, Eagles. Who wants to go first? I know Caden's itching as a Cowboys fan.
It's just one of those games where you just want both teams to lose. But, it was a shit show because it was supposed to be, this highly touted rematch of last year's NFC Championship with Brock Purdy back. Eagles are playing great. Niners are playing good. And it was supposed to be, a really good game. And the Niners came out and just smoked them. Jalen Hurts did not look very good. Brock Purdy, I actually don't think he threw a pass more than 20 yards down the field, but he was just getting to his playmakers and they were making plays. And now Brock Purdy's favorite for MVP in what I saw the other day, which I don't agree with, but I don't know. It was just a bad game for the Eagles, but it felt due kind of. They've been pulling these games out by a score in overtime or late in the fourth, and it felt like a game the Eagles were due to lose.
I have a question for you. Why not Brock Purdy?
I don't know. He just doesn't scream MVP to me, right? He just throws it
within
10 yards.
Have the arm talent of Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, But this man and his ability to do what's necessary is unmatched right now across the league. It is Shanahan. It is George Kittle. It is Christian McCaffrey. It is Deebo Samuel. It's Brandon Ayuk. It is everybody. It's that O-line. It's that defense. But it's him too, and he's right there. Every good quarterback has had good receivers. Yeah, so I actually think Brock Purdy deserves more credit than he's given. Maybe not by the sports books, because sports books have him as the favorite, but in the general media, I think so.
Look at Brock Purdy's games without Deebo Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
They lost all 3 of them.
To be fair, he had a concussion in like 2 of them, basically.
I don't know. I think quarterback like CJ Stroud is doing more than Brock Purdy's doing with what he has. Texans weren't even supposed to win 5 games in a lot of people's eyes. They're 7 wins right now, and he's throwing.
Look at that Niners roster versus the Texans roster. I mean, if you want to talk about the definition of valuable,
we'll see how CJ Stroud does without Tank Dell, because I do think CJ Stroud's had a wonderful rookie season. I think he's been a great quarterback so far. But the Texans did hit on people that we did not expect to be good with Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys are good players. And I didn't think that receiving core was going to be decent with Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell. I thought they were going to be bad.
Yeah.
But it turns out they are pretty decent. So, I still think Brock Purdy deserves to be in the conversation. I think Tyreek Hill deserves to be the MVP.
Favorite,
yeah.
All right. Did you rate this game, Dodge?
Oh, I did not. I don't think. But I either want to go grab your popcorn or shit show.
Yeah.
Which is weird. But I'm going to say shit show just because it wasn't close and it was hyped up to be a good game, even though the Niners are just so dominant. They're the best team in the league by far right now. No one's close. And we should just know that. For the rest of the games, we should just know that.
Yep.
The Niners are the best team.
Yep. I also have shit show. I think a lot of, don't forget the receipts, man. Media was saying the Niners were no longer the best team in the league after those 3 losses. So don't forget the receipts. I take receipts. So I've been saying all year that they were the best team in the league. I'll keep my receipts. I'll put them right on the freaking screen right now. So no, but I think it's interesting. I do want to pose this question because it's come out a lot. Do you think that this shows anything about last year's game, the NFC Championship? I think it's really hard to compare. It's completely different teams, but that's what everyone's asking.
Sorry, repeat the question.
So last year, you know how Brock Purdy went down?
Yeah.
So they're saying this was a rematch, and this is what would have happened if Brock Purdy was in.
No. The Eagles had Hargrave, which I think switched to the Niners. So I don't think this is a rematch. I think the teams did have some roster change over the last season, and honestly, it's and it's not it's a regular season game.
Yep,
it's not the NFC Championship. So, no.
Kid, what do you think?
I agree. Eagles lost a lot of their defensive players this offseason too. Yep. And different situation, different teams, different, like everyone's had another year to kind of figure out the Eagles. Like last year, it felt like teams just couldn't figure them out as well. So it's definitely a way different circumstances. So I don't agree.
And the Niners additions. Mm-hmm. Chase Young.
Oh, yeah. No, the list goes on. People forget that they also added Randy Gregory, too, to that team.
Yeah, Randy Gregory. Yeah. So, 2 different teams.
Yeah.
The only way the Niners are getting away with it is the fact that Brock Purdy is on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
And it's not a good. It's like mid. So.
Yep. All right. Chiefs, Packers. Rate the game.
I'm gonna go
Grab your
MIDterranean Sea.
popcorn.
Oh, shit.
I dodge.
Okay, no, you first. You're the one who I think has got the more bold take.
I don't know. I thought it was a fun game to watch. Nighttime at Lambeau in the cold, and Jordan Love played awesome. And he's, for me, one of the most hit or miss quarterbacks this year, because he'll either light it up and they're like, oh, the Packers dominated, or he'll just terrible game. And so I think, he lit it up. He outplayed Mahomes, and it felt like they were scoring on every drive, and the Packers played a pretty perfect game. The refs kind of sucked this game, I will say that. Especially towards the end, there was a potential missed PI call, a potential late hit out of bounds that wasn't out of bounds. Pacheco throwing punches. So the end of the game was eventful. I would definitely grab my popcorn. That was
You've
fun.
changed my mind, Caden. This game was a grab your popcorn game. I was thinking MIDterranean Sea just because we didn't see anything like super special from Patrick Mahomes or Kelsey or really anyone besides Pacheco on the Chiefs. But honestly, it was a well-played game, both offensively and defensively on both sides. So other than maybe like the Chiefs defensive backs got torched by Jordan Love. And I was really impressed with Jordan Love. He is the most inconsistent quarterback. He's streaky. I mean, he started this streak at the beginning of the season, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. And then he had the middle of the season here where he was like, oh, wait, yeah, there we go. That's who I expected. And then the last few games were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, he rides the waves, man.
Yep.
Respect.
All right, I'm going to go with grab your popcorn too. Anytime Patrick Mahomes loses on primetime football with Taylor Swift in attendance and Chris Collinsworth sucking his dick, I love it. I love it. And I also think it's even funnier because it's the first time he's been at Lambeau and he lost to Jordan Love of all people. So I don't know. I think it's hilarious, but I also think that like overall it was just a weirdly entertaining game. Like it wasn't even like I can't even point to one reason why, but it just was. I didn't expect this game to be entertaining. When you turn on the channel, like the Packers and Chiefs, that's all they could do. But like it actually was pretty decent, And I think the Packers are definitely in the playoff conversation. So, all right, going to our last game. Just happened. Bengals Jaguars. Bengals pulled out the win. I think I might have to go with grab your popcorn. Another grab your popcorn. I thought it was entertaining. Did I hate that it went into overtime a little bit because we were watching two backups? But, Jake Browning looks composed. He won them the game, so good for him. Good for the Bengals.
I'm going to go with grab your popcorn as well. I thought Jake Browning played really well today. And Trevor Lawrence was playing good too before he got injured. And I think that the only reason why I might want to change it to MIDterranean Sea is because he got injured.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a grab your popcorn game. Very close. Very well played game. Overtime.
Good.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All divisional games are usually going to be close, which, coming in, you'd think that the Jaguars defense wouldn't allow 34 points to Browning and the Bengals offense, but they did. So this is maybe another gut check for another defense that we thought was really good going into these final couple weeks. And now it kind of questions how long is the injury going to be with Lawrence? Do they get enough wins before he got hurt to still make the playoffs? So I don't know. It's grab your popcorn though. It was fun. Browning played the Brock Purdy style offense, short passes. He threw that deep on Jamar Chase, but everything else was just good pocket passes, and it was a fun game.
I got a question for you guys about this week in the NFL then. It seemed like there was more grab your popcorns than we've had in any other week. Yes? True or false?
True, but this is a fairly new segment, so yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes, but yes, go ahead.
I think it was a good, fun week of football.
It was.
Yep. Especially because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we went down every single game, and there was like one good game, and the rest were just.
True.
I don't even want to watch the NFL this week.
So bad.
Yeah, that's true. Comparatively, this was a lot better week.
All right, let's get into our playoff brackets. For those of you who don't know, ESPN has a feature now that has a playoff machine. I asked all these boys to go through the playoff machine. You pick out every game, and then it automatically populates the playoffs picture for you. So how this is going to work? We're just going to announce our top 7 teams from the AFC, starting from the 7 up, and then the NFC 7 up. So I will start. All right. So first 7 seed, I've got Denver. 6 seed, I've got Houston. 5 seed, I've got Cleveland. 4 seed, I've got Jacksonville. 3 seed, Kansas City. 2 seed, Miami. Baltimore at the 1st seed. And then the NFC, I've got Philly at the 1 seed. San Francisco, 2 seed. Detroit, 3 seed. Tampa Bay, 4 seed. Dallas, 5th seed. Seattle, 6th seed. And Minnesota, your 7th seed.
You have Seattle winning out in your predictions.
No way.
That's all I'm going to it because they're 6-6, and you had them at 11-6, and I know they play the Niners and Eagles the next 2 weeks. So,
Thanks, buddy.
Seahawks beating the Niners next week
and Eagles.
No way, I did that. Did I do that? Holy shit, I did that.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
I'm not even a Seahawks cock lover. But all right, well, Dodge, you got to be happy with that.
I am happy with that. Thank you.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So in the AFC, I have my 1 seed as the Chiefs, my 2 seed as the Ravens, my 3 seed is the Dolphins, my 4 seed is the Jags, my 5 seed is the Steelers, 6 seed is the Browns, and my 7 seed is the Colts, and just out is the Texans, who tied with the Colts at 10-7. So that's unfortunate. And they do play each other in the last week of the season, so that game for me is the deciding factor.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah. So in the NFC, I have the Niners as the 1 seed, the 2 seed as the Eagles, the 3 seed is Detroit, 4 seed is the Falcons, 5 seed is Dallas, 6 seed is Minnesota, and 7 seed is the Packers.
Okay. Caden, can you figure this out?
So I did mine on my PC and on my laptop, so I'm just going to have to read them out.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah. But I had some the NFL is very unpredictable this year, so I have some maybe controversial 6 and 7 seeds. So I'll start with the AFC. 1st seed, I had Baltimore at 13-4. 2nd seed, I had Kansas City tied with Miami at 12-5, 2nd and 3rd. And the 4th seed, I had Jacksonville 11-6. Even if Lawrence is hurt, they'll still be able to win a couple of those games.
Yeah.
Because they don't have it. The 5th seed for me is the Texans. I've been riding them all year, so I have to get them in my playoffs, and they win a tiebreaker, so they get the 5 seed. My 6th seed is Cleveland, 10-7.
Oh, okay.
And so they're tied with Cleveland, who also went 10-7 at the 6th seed. And then my biggest surprise, the Bills as the 7 seed at 10-7. They got the dogs. Josh Allen finds a way to get them in. They pull an upset over Kansas City and Dallas, and they sneak in as the 7 seed.
I played around with the Bills as well. They almost made it. I played around with this a lot, but what's your NFC? Or did you already go NFC?
No. NFC, my 1 seed, I have the Eagles at 14-3. I have the San Francisco as the 2 seed at 13-4. I think Baltimore beats them and they lose another one. Detroit at 13-4 is my 3 seed, but I don't know if I like that as much. anymore. But Tampa Bay as my 4 seed at 8 and 9, I don't think anyone in that division should have a winning record. And
Yeah, I agree.
they won the 3-way tiebreaker at 8 and 9.
I flirted
Dallas
with that too.
Dallas is my 5 seed at 12 and 5. Green Bay is my 6 seed at 10 and 7. They haven't lost in December in the last 3 years, so I have them continuing their hot streak. And then my 7 seed is the Rams at 10 and 7. They played not good teams to end the season. The Saints, Giants, Cardinals. They continue to keep it hot, and they get in over the Seahawks.
I like it. All right, Dodge. Make a case for the Steelers.
Oh, did you guys both not have the Steelers in there?
No.
Whoa. Okay. So my case for the Steelers is you got Mike Tomlin.
True.
B,
About that defense.
They only to go 10 and 7, they would finish out 3 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, starting next week, I have them winning Thursday night against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not at the Patriots, at home. I do have them in an upset against the Colts away, but the Colts suck at home. They're 2 and 4 this season.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have them beating the Bengals the following week when they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I have them losing to my Hawks in week 17 away. And I have them losing to the Ravens away. So, I guess I also think I think Kenny Pickett's a slight upgrade to Mitch Trubisky. I think that defense plays well enough to win them games against the Bengals, the Patriots.
You mean Mitch to?
Yeah, Trubisky is an upgrade to
Yeah.
Pickett. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, so that's my case for the Steelers. I think they have to go 9 and 8. They have to go 9 and 8. They're going to win 2 more games. I even as a Hawk fan, I'm a little afraid of the Steelers away, at home. I don't like being afraid, but I think the noticeable thing for mine is that the Hawks are off.
I think the noticeable thing about mine, and I didn't even realize, is that the Hawks are on. I have them
winning out.
Broncos
winning out, which is ridiculous. I didn't even mean to do that. Okay, but here was my thought process. Thought process, right? So if they beat the Niners this week, right, they're gonna ride that momentum into the Eagles. Okay. They beat the Niners. They beat the Eagles. They're on that hot streak. And then their last 3 are Titans,
Steelers, and Cardinals.
Steelers, and the Cards. So for me, it's like the last 3 are really, or in my opinion, they're winnable. The first 2 are hard, but I think if they can beat the Niners, which is a big if, I think they could ride that momentum in there. But I might be fucking crazy. So
I don't think we beat the Niners away. I think our best chance is the Eagles at home on Monday Night Football. I think if we can win that, the Hawks will make playoffs.
Yeah.
If they can't, it gets very difficult with the Rams and the Packers, especially since the Rams have the tiebreaker beating them twice. So, yeah. And sorry, did I hear that you have the Broncos winning it? Or not winning it, but Broncos are
they're getting in there. I'll look at
10
my
and
case
7
for them. 10 and 7, yeah, I have them in there. I think they have a chance to beat. I think they should beat the Chargers. Brandon Staley's. Everyone knows my opinion on him. I don't think we're going to beat the Lions. I then have them beating the Patriots. Very winnable game. I have them beating the Chargers twice, which might be a bold take. Divisional games are controversial, but say we do that. And then if we're there, I think Sean Payton wills us out and we beat the Raiders in week 18 after losing to them in week 1. So I think it's doable. I think people might think it's crazy, but I think it's doable.
I have
Like
the Broncos.
none of the wins that I said, I'm like, holy shit. Like, no way you said that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's doable. I mean, sure, is beating a team twice hard? Yeah, but I mean, Chargers, Patriots, and Raiders, I think we can beat all three of those teams.
I don't think you beat the Chargers twice. Is
We
is
will
the biggest
find
thing.
out.
I could see you beating the Raiders.
So, but that was my case for them. What was your case for the Packers?
They're hot right now, and they have an easier schedule. Saints, Giants, Bears, and they haven't lost in December in like 3 or 4 years. So, if Jordan Love's going to be streaky, they're going to keep winning games. They're going to find a way to get to 10, and then they're going to win a tiebreaker in.
Okay.
Make your case for the Rams too, because you had the Rams going.
You kind of did already. Yeah.
Rams for me are just like they have an easy schedule, which I think the Vikings are a better team, and I wanted the Vikings in over them. But when it came down to it, Rams, who do they have? Commanders, Saints, Giants, and San Francisco was their last 4 games. I had to have them upset, though. I actually had them upsetting the Ravens. That's my hot take for them.
Oh.
So I know.
Yeah, that was because I had the Rams going 9-8 as well.
If the Ravens beat the Rams, then Seattle gets the 7 seed at 10-7.
You had Seattle going
10-7
too.
Yeah, I did.
So I'm the least. I don't know.
I had them upsetting the Eagles on Sunday night.
Oh, is it Sunday night? I said Monday.
Or Monday, whatever they flexed it to.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we talking about Super Bowl picks?
I didn't have Super Bowl pick, but I mean,
well, we have the playoff. We have our playoff brackets.
That's true. I'll go with. I'll stick with my Niners since I said them at the beginning of the year. I'll go Niners and. I'll go Niners Chiefs. Niners winning it.
I'll go Niners Ravens. I think the Ravens are pretty dang good, especially when they their top potential. I think is higher than the Chiefs this season, and the Chiefs they're not showing the it factor. You know, I don't see any Chiefs wins that I'm like, wow, that's a Chief win right there. But the Ravens, I mean, they've destroyed some good teams. I remember them playing my Hawks. I remember them playing the Lions, and they killed both.
Yep. Kid.
So I saw a thing that ever since they got to Super Bowl 50, the colors that they put in the logo have been the colors of the Super Bowl contenders for the last 4 years. This year it was purple and red. So Ravens Niners is what jumps out to me. However, I will say I think the Cowboys will lose in the AFC, or they'll make it to the NFC Championship this year and then lose for the 30 in a row.
What about
Niners.
No. What about Vikings Chiefs?
What about Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay Ravens.
Give me Baker in the Super Bowl.
Hunter, who did you have winning the NFC South?
I had Tampa as well at 8 and 9.
Both had Tampa at 8 and 9. Wow.
Because
I had Tampa going 7 and 10.
I can't, bro. I hate that division so much.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to our last thing, which we're kind of cheating on because they had their first quarterfinal games tonight. Sacramento, New Orleans played. New Orleans won first game, and then Indiana versus Celts. Sorry, Celts fans, they lost to the Pacers. So tomorrow, Los Angeles Lakers will play the Phoenix Suns, and then Milwaukee will play the New York Knicks. Who are your picks on those two games, boys? Okay.
I'm going to go with the Suns over the Lakers. And then who the Bucks play? Knicks. Go with the Bucks in that one.
Okay.
I just think the Suns are finally healthy and they're hot.
Okay.
I'm the same way. Bucks and Suns. I think, looking at the previous meetings, there's no way I see the Lakers winning all three in a row against the Suns.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think the Bucks are just a better team. What kept the Knicks in the last game was a 45-point show by Jalen Brunson, and
Yeah.
he is good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a guy that can do that every game when they need it. So
yeah. Yep. I'm going to go with the Lakers. This seems like a very LeBron thing to do, to win the in-season tournament. And it doesn't matter, winning that Mickey Mouse trophy a few years back. Now he has to win this too. So I'll go with the Lakers, and then I'll go with the Milwaukee Bucks. With that being said, semifinals. Caden, I believe you have Bucks, Pacers, Suns, Pelicans.
Okay. I'm going to go Suns, and then I'm going to go Pacers as well. I was high on them preseason. Halliburton's playing MVP level. I don't think the Bucks are quite playing as good as they could be yet. So I will go Suns and Pacers into the finals.
Who's your champ? Give me a champ. Lock it in.
I'm going to go with the Suns. Suns, lock it in. They're going to win the in-season tournament. They're playing good right now.
KD for his mama. Dodge.
That seems like a very Suns thing to do as well. I have the same semifinal as Caden. I'm going to actually go Bucks into the championship, and I'm going to go Suns, and we'll get a Bucks-Suns where it's possible we see both those teams in the NBA Finals. As much as I want my Celtics to be in the NBA Finals, but I don't know. They lost the Pacers, so can't be in this finals. I think I'm going to go Bucks. I think the Bucks win the in-season tournament. Dame and Giannis will figure it out. And the Suns haven't been playing well enough this season to win that many 3 straight games. So,
oof. Lakers, Pelicans. See, there's a world where I can just see this Pelicans team just surprising everyone, because they have a lot of bench players, and they're they need that $500K, right? So I'll go.
I don't think it's that unreasonable.
I'll go Pelicans over the Lakers and Bucks over the Pacers. Pelicans, Bucks. I'll go. You know what? Give me the Pelicans. I'll go with the Pelicans. A little bold take.
We got all 3 different ones, huh?
Yeah.
Suns, Bucks,
Pelicans. Suns, Bucks, Pelicans.
How awesome is this in-season tournament, though? No one really knew what was going on when it started. And it's been a hit. When have you had such action-packed games in November and December? It's pretty cool to see.
It's cool. It is cool. I will say this, though. I have not watched one of them. However, I will watch tomorrow because now I've made predictions. So
yeah,
but I do agree. I don't want to I don't want to take away your flowers. I do think what they did this year is very smart. I think they needed to bring in newness, innovation, and that's exactly what they did. And good job on them.
It gives people a reason to watch the regular season.
Yep.
So I think that it's a success. I think they need to change those courts, like you've talked about before.
My God,
they're awful to look at. I think it was the Pacers one that I saw last, and I was just like, ugly. I mean, the Celtics lost that game too, but it was ugly to watch.
Yeah. All right, boys. I think that's all I got for you. But do we have any final thoughts? We talked about it all, man. I needed to talk sports after my last 3 interviews.
Final thoughts. Make the MVP just a quarterback award if you're not going to give any love to Tyreek. Just make it a quarterback award.
Bold takes on the logical nonsense. That's how we do it.
There's a lot of boys.
What's up?
I was going to say back to college football. There's a lot of Big Ten versus SEC matchups in bowl games. Granted, with the transfer portal and people wanting to leave for the pros, it's not going to be as exciting.
No.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I think we'll definitely see who was better this season, Big Ten or SEC, which will be fun.
I like it. My final thought for everyone here: give Zion and his porn star that 500K, baby. It's coming right in his way. All right. Thanks, boys, for coming on. I appreciate everyone who was listening this far, if you even heard me say that comment. So appreciate it if you did listen to that. But yeah, thanks, boys, for coming on.
Thanks for having us.